In his remark, the chief executive of NUPRC, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, said with signing of the 7 regulations into law, it will create an enabling environment for growth and more investments in the Nigerian upstream oil and gas sector. Among the regulations signed is the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Measurement Regulations 2023, which will help close the metering gap in upstream petroleum operations, as well as encourage accelerated meter rollout in upstream petroleum operations.
Encourage accelerated hydrocarbon measurement metering devices rollout in upstream petroleum operations in Nigeria. Encourage the development of independent and competitive meters used in the upstream. Attract private investment in the provision of metering services in the Nigerian oil and gas sector. Provide for the regulation of the measurement of petroleum, crude and gas produced. Ensure transparent and accurate measurement of crude oil and gas as a basis for the calculation of oil and gas revenues accruable to the Federation.
Another of the regulation is the Production, Curtailment and Domestic Crude Oil Supply Obligation Regulations 2023. These will provide the general rules for production curtailment and utilization of the produced petroleum in relation to export and domestic crude oil supply obligation.
The Frontier Basin Exploration Fund Administration Regulations 2023. This regulation will also provide the general rules for the exercise of the Commission's responsibility with respect to frontier basins in Nigeria, pursuant to Section 9 of the Act and the administration of the Frontier Exploration Fund. The aim is to encourage and attract investment to the frontier basins in Nigeria.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, (NITI), Engineer Orji Ogbonnaya Orji, made a startling revelation of how Nigeria has lost over $46.6 billion to stolen or unaccounted crude oil in the country.
What we found was startling. But let me just make a comment based on what NITI reports has been since 2009 to 2020. This country had lost 619.7 million barrels of crude, only tracked by 8 companies that were willing to volunteer data. 619.7 million barrels were lost, either stolen or not accounted for, amounting to $46.16 billion, which if you convert to Naira in official exchange rate will give you 16.25 trillion Naira that Nigeria lost by crude.
Signing the 7 regulations into law, the Chief Executive Officer of NUPRC, Engineer Komolafe, said Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Measurement Regulations 2023 heralds a new approach in the regulation of petroleum production, accounting process for fiscalization purposes in this sector, and will ensure flawless measurement of petroleum production in an efficient, accurate, and error-free manner. In Abuja, Mariam Zakari, Liberty News.